These icons on the bottom of this screen are way too small. Once you have like 30 of these, it's gonna be so difficult to look at these tiny little icons and then pick the one you want. So let's try to redesign this a little bit. It's about damn time The Sims got competition. I'm Lucas Olivieri, co-founder, CEO, and creative director at Loreworx, a gaming startup. And this is a series where I analyze upcoming games from both a business and a design perspective and propose changes in hopes that a dev might watch this and implement them. I'm very excited about inZOI, but couldn't help but adjust the interface in 3 different screens. But nitpicking is what I do. Let's get started.
inZOI.
Krafton, the makers of PUBG.
Have you ever imagined
Really?
your dream
Yep.
life? We all have
It's a very different game, isn't it?
Oh no, they have the Killmonger hair.
What choices would you make?
So I did play the character creator in this game, and it is very advanced. It's almost perfect. I love that you can change the background and stuff, because right now I think they have a problem with contrast with this background, with the white font and this lighter gray background. Some of these words are really hard to see. I know that this one is a terrible example because it says in development, but sometimes it's hard to see some of these words because of the white on the gray. But you can change the background color, which is really cool that they give you this kind of control here. I would just like to have a set as default button so that it doesn't always default to this gray background, and then I have to manually change the color every time. The editing of the face features, amazing. Truly amazing. I played a little bit of this. I wish I could show you some of that footage, but I can't go back into that thing now because it's been locked out. It was a limited time demo. One thing that they're not going to show here that I can actually report is that you can actually change the tips of the ears on your character, and so you can actually create an elf if you want. I did that.
saw that.
I did that in my game. So that is really cool. The body sliders are not as advanced, and unfortunately, there's no height slider. There's only like a weight thing, right? Which is very understandable as well, because when you have different heights, and you know, Larian Studios could talk about this, when you have characters with vastly different heights, it's very difficult for you to actually animate them well, because you need the characters to animate with themselves. And it's the same thing here with a game like this. You would imagine there are hundreds of different animations. It would be a lot of work for you to create a height slider. I just wish, this is me like dream Sims game scenario from a design perspective, that they could think of a solution to have different heights. If you had 3 predefined heights, for instance, then you could, with a little bit of manual labor, you could test out all of the animations between 3 different height combinations. This right here, I want to highlight this, and hopefully the developers will watch this. I don't know, it's a small channel still, but the customized outfits screen is, I think, a standout in this game. They need to work on this more, because no Sims game does this. You can literally choose many different aspects of the shirt or the pants or the bottoms that you are putting on your Zoe, your character. However, it is so limited right now. I really wish that they had different designs here. I really sit down and think, wow, you know, this is a standout. Other games don't have this. We have a whole separate section in the character creator for just this thing. Sit down and think of different ways to make this even cooler. This is my favorite type of UI. This design, basically the Apple Vision Pro. That said, there are some changes that I'm going to propose here, and I hope they see this. One of the changes is this screen. It's beautiful, but it's just messy. So let's change this a little bit. Let me open Photoshop. This screen has a few issues. Let's look at the bottom panel. It uses like 4 different font sizes. That's probably breaking an imaginary UI design rule somewhere. It's fine in these little boxes because they are contained, but there's no reason for the characteristics and the bullet points to be smaller than the description section. So I increased the font size to match it, and I decreased the space between the lines. I gave this section a scroll bar just in case they run out of space, and I removed the dots that were on this side, serving no purpose other than making it harder for me to read the text. I kept the ones on the left side of the screen though, because those are cute. But the main problem this screen has is a terrible lack of contrast. It's white text on light gray buttons with a light gray background. So let's darken the background to make the text pop. Now I can easily read things, and the redesign is complete. Overall, I think this interface is just incredible. One thing that I would change here is the font is too small on this panel. There's contrast here.
It is.
The contrast here is, oh my God, I just noticed the custom furniture is cut out. Did you see that?
Uh-huh.
I was like, what? So I would just make this bigger. There's plenty of space, you know, you don't even have to make the panel itself bigger. You can just make the actual font bigger. And then if you have a situation where it cuts out like custom furniture here, and this is a problem with, especially when you're localizing the game into different languages. Like I speak English and Portuguese is such a bitch because everything in Portuguese is just so much longer and it's so annoying to localize. You can just program your game to do a little animation and have the words do like a lettering animation, and they go to the left, and so you see the rest of the word, and then they go back to where they were. You could do something like this, or you can do what they did with laundry and cleaning tools. They just use two lines. Take this, EA. That's literally like a freaking building. An apartment building.
Very cool.
That is a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 stories. 10 stories. All right, here's another screen that beautiful, yes, but let's talk about experience. These icons on the bottom of this screen are way too small. Once you have like 30 of these, it's gonna be so difficult to look at these tiny little icons and then pick the one you want. So let's try to redesign this a little bit. The first thing I did was enlarge the bottom panel so it touches the corners of the screen. The main problem with this screen is scale. There's no reason to leave these corners open. We need every bit of scaling that we can get. I then designed this tiny little button. It would appear when the player hovers the cursor over any of these sections. If you click it, you get a pop-up on the right with much larger icons to help you pick whatever you want. This is the same icon size as the ones in character creation for consistency. I was going for their frosted glass look here, but I know that they can do this a lot better. I'm not 100% satisfied myself, but it's the idea that counts. Let's move on. I think the director of this, the game director of inZOI, was a modder in The Sims. This is something that in The Sims is a cheat code. What they did is they created a screen for you to turn on cheat codes if you want, or for you to actually just change everything about the sandbox. And so how easy it is for characters to fall in love with you. Money cheats, all of these things that in The Sims you would have to go, oh, testing cheats enabled, true. And then moving objects, blah, 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 true. All that crap that in The Sims you have to use the console for and type things out. In inZOI, it's just a few clicks. And that is genius. Genius.
Scroll bars live.
Speaking from a business perspective, the strategy here that they did was incredible. So they sent the game to some influencers, the Sims influencers, and actually gave those influencers access to the whole game. And what happens when you do that is they make creations. And so they start populating your canvas with Sims that they created, and also rooms and buildings and houses and stuff like that. And so when I actually got to play the character creation demo, I already saw a canvas that was filled with creations, which is really smart. You want to do that so that you can actually test the thing before you actually launch the game. One thing that I have to say about this canvas though is everything in the game is that frosted glass UI effect that I love. Canvas is light mode, and it just blasts white light into your eyes, and it's kind of, it's impactful. And I'm a guy who loves dark mode, and when I accessed Canvas using the character creator, it bothered me that this thing was so bright. And so I actually started using Canvas using the browser, because you can actually go to Canvas on the website, kind of like you can do that with The Sims as well. And I have a browser extension that, you know, dark modifies everything. And Canvas dark mode looks great using the browser extension. So I'm assuming that the devs could also give us an amazing looking dark mode for this Canvas screen if they want to.
Upload and download creations, interact with other players, and enrich each other's inZOI experience.
Just beautiful. The UI designer in this game, I love it. I freaking love it. Okay, so in this screen, my only thing is I would have a legend somewhere. I know that you're gonna play the game and you're gonna figure out what the red dots and the green dots and the blue dots are, but there's so much space on the left side of the screen. Just have a little legend. These little dialogue lines could use a little outer glow that is darker so you could actually read them. You can read this one because the background is dark, but it'll be hard to read the next one. Like this one right here is, first of all, impossible for me to read because it looks Korean. But even if I did know Korean, I wouldn't be able to read that. The one thing, Fernando, that I was concerned with after I saw a Let's Play was that they don't have multitasking. So you know how in The Sims you sit down, and if someone sits down with you, you can talk while eating and stuff like that? You don't have that in inZOI, and that sucks because like you're eating something, but then if you want to talk to the person that's next to you, you drop what you're eating and then you go talk to the person and the person gets up. They're not even like sitting down. That's a letdown. However, I believe the developers are working on that for launch, so it'll probably launch with the multitasking. Now here is the last UI redesign that I'm going to propose. It's the needs window and the queue section. You'll be looking at these things during most of your playtime, and there are so many great ideas in this interface. These dots here all represent a mood, and the strongest mood is then showcased on the button on the right. If you hover over the dots, you get a tooltip telling you what mood it is. Over time, you'll eventually memorize them. It's freaking genius. But for some reason, they didn't do this for the ZOI's needs, and instead you'll have this pop-up open. Sims players always have the needs panel open in live mode, even if the needs aren't decaying because you unlocked some crazy like bladder thing. I'd assume it'll be the same here. But this pop-up window is sticking out like it just doesn't belong. So I took the concept of the mood dots and placed 8 color-coded dots, 1 for each need, on top of the needs button. Now you can play without the window and have your needs information at a glance. I also took the little arrow they used on the mood dots and put it on the dot that corresponds to the need being showcased in the button below. And of course, you can still click the arrow here to see the pop-up window. Now let's redesign the queue section. This little window has room for 7 different ZOI commands, but you'll rarely be queuing that many, which means that all this background is doing is blocking the view of the game, which I'm sure is breaking another UI design rule that doesn't exist somewhere. So I got rid of it and gave the icons a tiny outer glow to make them stand out a bit more. I also chopped this ZOI in half apparently, but it's cool because he's got a star. So there you go. I think this is cleaner. Hopefully the devs see this. I really want this to happen, Fernando. I really want this change to happen.
If the devs don't do it, some modder will.
I'm not that modern.
Breakdancing.
Yeah. No longer an Olympic sport,
Dude,
Fernando.
they punch each other and
Look how beautiful this to-do list is. This is what I mean. I am nitpicking. This game looks beautiful.
that's the guy from Old Boy.
That's true. It does look like the guy from Old Boy. Not the remake, the original. The remake is Thanos. Yeah. That's not true. That never happens. I'm sorry, but that's just fake right there. This is real. If someone wants to give me a flyer in the streets, I completely ignore the person
But I gotta be honest, the babies for me are a little bit of a Cannon Valley feeling. I don't like
Uncanny Valley, you mean?
I don't like them very much.
Fernando doesn't like babies. I really want to play this game. I'm hyped for it, and of course I just nitpicked it to hell. But if you like this video, then you should watch this other video where I talk about the 15 game design features that I believe should be extinct from the face of this planet. And remember, fun is business.
Also, don't drink and drive.
Don't drink and drive.